Hey people, I'm gonna call this video Midlife Crisis. And I don't think I'm going through a midlife crisis. If I am, I'll be living to 120 because I ain't quite 60 yet. But I did pick up this sweet ride the other day. I give 6,500 for it, but it didn't have but about 19.4 thousand miles on it when I got it. I put these 1,600 miles on it the past 2 weeks trying to figure out what was wrong with it, because it was fine. Everything works. CB. I had to put some new marine speakers in the back where speaker wasn't working. Everything's at your thumbs, all the controls. And so I used to love to go down to Florida when the weather was rough and surf. I would go right on the Florida-Bama line. And so I pulled down there this weekend. You know, the weather's still really nice here. I cut a couple more squash, and most of these watermelons are ready to be harvested, but I have a bunch of new ones coming on. And the peppers are doing real good. I harvested about 7 peppers off of this plant yesterday. And my sugar cane's coming up and doing good. You plant this sugar cane in August, September, so, and you get it up high enough so it'll live through the frost, and then in the spring it'll take off and you can harvest it again next year in September. But I still have little watermelons sprouting, and as soon as I cut all the big ones off, I'm sure they'll grow. And this red castor over here is putting out a lot of seeds all over. This is the prettiest castor. It's way prettier than ugly green ones over there, just have minimal color to them. So I'm sure I'm going to plant a lot of these castors. I mean, I'm not going to plant the other ones so much. I might plant them on the west end. But it's time. The castor knows, and all my castors I got around here, they're all seeding now. But the weather's nice down here in South Mississippi and Florida. It's time to ride. You can't ride in the summer. It's too damn hot. So it's finally where you have to put a coat on at night now. If you're riding a scooter, that is. But I've been taking care of some other businesses I really need to take care of this summer. And that's why I haven't been posting. Not so much a midlife crisis. But the reason I was calling this midlife crisis, I went down to Florida-Bama. That's down on the beach on the Alabama-Florida line last weekend. I saw this band, Midlife Crisis, and they were badass. They had a new girl singing. The other girl is ill with cancer, and she's finer than hell, and she must be like her late 50s. She looks good. Your lead guitar, he's 70. Bass man, he's about 60, and they play everything from the late 60s, 70s, early 80s, and all the kids were out there. I ain't never seen so many kids out there at the Florida-Bama Club, and they were praising us old folks. They was telling us how we rocked and we grew up in the best time. And they got another gig going on this weekend. I'm thinking about going down here to Oso. It's not quite as far as Florida-Bama and see him here. This is the old giggling grouper. But while I was there last weekend at the Florida-Bama Club, I seen these 5 Muslim men sitting at a table by themselves. They weren't communicating with anybody else there, but they looked like they were having a good time, so I went to talk to them. They were way off in the back over here. And I told them that I studied ancient biblical language and I studied the Quran a little bit. And I told him it was all the same old bullshit, it's the same as the Bible. And he asked why, so I explained to him why I had that point of view. And I started with, well, Muhammad, he was supposedly a traveling salesman. And they all 5 jumped up, no, he wasn't. But if you Google it, Pretty much everywhere they'll tell you in AI, and I know you can't trust AI and prove them wrong all day long, but you say, yeah, before his priesthood, Muhammad worked as a traveling merchant, leading caravans and earning a reputation for his trustworthiness. But everywhere you look, they say Muhammad was a successful businessman, entrepreneur, traveling salesman, traveling merchant. So anybody who knows more about this, go ahead and drop a line down there and tell me what I don't know. But the story is that Muhammad was in a cave and an angel appeared to him. And this angel says to him, take note. And Muhammad says, I do not receipt. And so all you sects of Islam, they all have a different idea what that means. They don't know if receipt means I do not write, I do not read, or I do not speak. And it's the same word that starts off the Hebrew Bible, ba receipt, in receipt. And they interpret that as in the beginning. But from my studies, receipt means more of the recipe. Like I said, my great-grandmother, my French great-grandmother's cookbook was called The Receipt, and if you want an apple pie, you got to fill these receipts. It's a paper with a list of things that I need. If you went shopping, your receipt you got back was a list of things, in the list of things. And so you figure if he was a traveling salesman, a traveling merchant, he's got to be able to write, read, and speak, and maybe several languages. The story is to wake you up. It's the same as the Bible when Adam and Eve's eyes opened and they used fig leaves to make a jock strap. And people don't pick figs these days, so they don't realize it. But when I was a kid, the poison ivy didn't bother me much, but the fig leaves really made me itch. And I damn sure ain't going to make a jock strap out of it. So back in the day when people picked figs, they understood this better. The story is to make you think about it. They had the itchy crotch. And so the angel came to Muhammad every night, and he would write one verse every night that the angel told him to write. And it wasn't until 3 years after Muhammad's death that his brother-in-law got all his papers and put together the book. And he had 10 scholars help him put all this together into a book. But there is no Muslims. They can't read the Quran. They have no idea. It's just like the King James version of the Bible. All the Hebrews, all the Jews, the rabbis, they memorize what they're told because they can't read Hebrew either. But if you look at the names of the 10 guys that helped put this book together, Aman and Aben is a common name over in that area, and I've been with a man is a joke. It's a pseudonym for a gay man. I've been with a man. And people look over the first pages in these books and they start reading the story and they don't even have a clue what the story's about. But if there's any Muslims out there that can show me some kind of proof that Muhammad was uneducated and he was not a traveling merchant, a salesman that traveled around the world and copied jokes off the bathroom wall and made a book out of it, please show me your proof. So anybody in the South, Mississippi, Alabama area wants to ride down, see Midlife Crisis with me, give me a holler down here. And we'll find a cheap place to stay down there so we can see the red sunrise in the morning coming up on the beach. And take a walk on the beach. It's real good for cleaning your toenails after wearing flip-flops in the garden all summer. And so I'll get back to my language videos here soon. Good day.